BuckeyeHuddle.com Southern Swing. We are in the state of Mississippi. This is the second time we've ever done this in about maybe 10 to 12 years we've been doing this trip. And this is actually the first Mississippi high school we've ever been to because we came and we covered Cam Akers back in the day, and Cam's mother invited us over on a Saturday to do an interview on the back porch. So this is our first Mississippi high school. Bralan Womack, one of the top safeties in the country. Bralan, you just got done with spring ball. How'd that go, and just how are you doing today?
Spring ball went great. We got a lot of young kids, a lot of new kids that are in different roles than they were last year. Excited to see what they do this year. They have a big, step to take, but it's no pressure. If they, just know what they're doing, then there won't be any pressure on them. We just go out and execute.
You have a great program here. Sent a lot of guys off to college. Been a couple state championships here under Coach Bowman. How helpful has this program been for you in your development and just being part of such a great program in terms of getting you prepared for the next level?
It definitely prepares you. You're up here during the season, you're probably up here from 5:30 to 6 o'clock at night. So, you're going to have meetings in the morning, maybe weights, go to class, come back, have more weights, meetings, film. Then you're going to go practice. Defensive coach, we have a tremendous defensive scheme. We probably run every coverage known to human. Offensive scheme isn't simple, so it's just the difficulties now that you're facing. It'll make college a lot more simpler.
Yeah, like I said, there's only the second time we do this every year. We usually start somewhere, either Virginia, North Carolina area, and then we go down through Georgia, Florida, and usually out to Texas. It's only the second time we've been out to Mississippi. It's just not an area that there's been a great connection, I guess, with Ohio State over the years, whether they've just not thought they could get kids out of Mississippi or whatever it might be. What has your interest in Ohio State? Because you seem to have been interested from pretty early in your recruiting process. What was it about Ohio State that's able to kind of have them on your short list, being a Mississippi kid?
I just know what they're capable of. I know what they can do with putting players in the league and keeping them there. I know what they can do from a DB standpoint with Coach Walton, Coach Patricia, Jim Knowles last year, but Coach Matty G. I just know what they can do with their safeties and how they can produce them, how they can put players in position to be successful.
Sure. How much college football do you watch?
I watch a good bit.
Okay. 'Cause some of you guys don't watch it, and it's kind of like, wow, you don't watch any college football? Okay. So how close, I guess, did you follow their championship run last year, and did you have any thoughts or impressions from watching that?
I watched majority of their games. I watched a lot of regular season games like Penn State. Mm-hmm. I watched the Indiana game. I was at the Michigan game. Mm-hmm. And then all the playoff games I was, watching from home. And, I think what they did wasn't surprising to me because I always knew that they had the potential. It was just executing, and I think that was their big step into the college playoffs. They executed it well, high standard. They just balled out. Like, it was a different offensive attack from the Michigan game to the playoffs. So I feel like they always knew that they could compete for a championship, of course, but people started to believe it after the Texas game.
Were you in the locker room after the Michigan game?
I was not.
Okay.
It was a lot going on after the Michigan game because all the fights and stuff. But I went back to the recruiting lounge and we just went from there.
Okay. We had a player previously tell us that he knew they were going to win the championship. He was at the Michigan game. He knew they were going to win the championship after that game. Like being around them. I don't know if you got to talk to anyone after the game, coaches, players, et cetera, or what kind of vibes you got after that. But I thought that was really interesting because a lot of people were like, there's no way this team's winning the championship after that game. And we had a recruit tell us that the vibe he was getting from players and coaches after the game, he knew they were going to do it.
I think any recruit that was at the facilities the day after knew it.
Yeah.
Like you walk around the facilities, it was all smiles, everybody was happy. It was
They just kind of threw it away.
So, like, Coach G told me, it was like, it's just another game. It was just, maybe, it was a big loss. Might have hurt us with our seeding, but we're going to get in the playoffs, and we're going to do what we need to do.
Interesting. Not the only school recruiting you. Auburn, Texas A&M, Florida comprise what your four, kind of top four you're working with right now. What do you like about Auburn, and why are they in your top schools list?
I just like what Coach Freeze is doing. He's when he first got the job, he told the administrator and athletic director, he's like, I'm not gonna go in the portal. Just give me 4 years. I'm gonna build this team from high school players from the ground up, and that's what he's done. The recruiting cycle has kind of changed a little bit at Auburn. They signed a lot of big guys in 2025. They got a lot of big recruits in 2026 that are looking towards them. You can kind of see that they going to get pieces out of the portal, but everything's just high school for them.
Yeah. And with Florida, obviously another program that's, I guess, maybe a similar program to Auburn in terms of kind of a newer coach who's trying to build things up there. What do you like about the Gators?
Coach Vinny, he knows ball. He knows the ins and outs, the ups and downs about getting from college to the NFL. Of course, he played under Nick Saban. He played under Bill Belichick, coached under Bill Belichick. So those are two coaches that are two of the greatest to ever do it. So if anyone knows, ball like he does, and it's, him.
Texas A&M.
Coach Elko and his staff, they were one win away from SEC championship last year. They got some big things upcoming this year. And Coach Elko being a safeties coach is kind of different around there. Like, their defensive scheme is safety, safety, safety. Safeties run our defense. Like, if the safety's out of position, then, it's going to be a big problem. So it kind of holds you to a higher standard when you go in there.
Gotcha. So you were back at Ohio State in April for spring practice.
Yes, sir.
What were your impressions of that? Because coming off the national championship, obviously you've got maybe some new guys. You had a lot of seniors. What did you maybe observe about the vibe around practice and the facility coming off the championship?
So it was my first practice. So it was just competitiveness. Like, they know that they can, compete for another national championship this year, of course. They know that they are, in the driver's seat as of right now. They have two of the top 10 players in the country, and Caleb Downs and Jeremiah Smith. So they just know that they just got to stay hungry, because it's going to be the only person they can beat Ohio State is Ohio State as of right now, the way they feel. So Price is just very intent, like iron sharpen iron. You see a lot of Devin Sanchez versus Jeremiah Smith, a lot of guys just going at it every day, every rep.
I got a lot I could ask you about, but you see a true freshman like Devin Sanchez get in there early, and he's going up against Jeremiah Smith. Like, that's like throwing him right into the fire. How was watching that? What were you thinking watching that?
Just like, if I come in, I want that matchup. So if I can get that matchup, that definitely like open up some eyes to some of the, people that watch. Because I'm a safety, but I can cover very well.
How do you guard Jeremiah Smith?
It's really just a mental thing. Like, you don't look at his size, you don't look at his speed, you don't look at his catch radius. You just line up in front of him, man to man, and you just stay fundamental. You don't try to do nothing special just because he's special. You just stay fundamental to what you know, what you learn, and if anything, he's going to make a great catch. If anything, you don't get beat because you're not doing it fundamentally right. You get beat because he makes a great catch in my eyes. So that's your mindset you have to have.
Yeah. You're like the second or third person. We've talked to a few DBs about that, and they all said the same thing. Like, you can't let the aura or whatever psych you out before the play even starts, or you're already dead, So that's funny. That's a good mindset. It's interesting. Caleb Downs, watching him, obviously, very safety-driven defense last year with Caleb Downs, Lathan Ransom off to the NFL. How much have you watched of Caleb, just your observations of Caleb?
I watched a good bit. A lot of people compare me to him. He is a great guy to be compared to, don't get me wrong, but I want to be Bralan Womack going into Ohio State. I want to be Caleb Downs 2.0 or whatever they say with Caleb Downs. I want to be Bralan Womack. So if I can just go in with a mindset of making my own name, making my own status, making my own name, image, and likeness, that's my goal. I don't want to be, compared. Well, I'll be compared, but I don't want to be, the 2.0 of anybody else. I want to be Bralan Womack. Because I feel like it's some things that I can do that Caleb might not can do. It's some things Caleb can do better than I can do. So I feel like,
be your own person.
Be my own person.
Yep. All right. So what on this Ohio State official visit, what exactly haven't you seen or would you need to see? Like, you've been up there a few times, so it's not like you're not familiar with the place. You've been in like different environments up there. What would, I guess, is the purpose of the official just in terms of helping you guide toward a decision and things? Maybe is there some things you haven't seen that you need to see, or just, I guess, how do you feel about that upcoming visit and what's going to be important to you?
My official visits are really to just get a final feel, just really of where home will be. Like, where do I feel more comfortable at? Like, everybody's gonna roll out the red carpet, everybody's gonna make it look great, but it's really about where do you feel most at home at. And to me, I have not decided already where I will go, but this is kind of like my final tour of, final grand look of everything, final grand look. Like, it might be a lot of things that I run over because, things can change from now to then to now. So it's really just taking it day by day, because once you commit, I don't want to decommit. I don't want to, do all that. So once I commit, it kind of just be over.
And that's August 23rd, right?
August 22nd.
Oh, August 22nd.
August 22nd.
August 22nd decision date here. So, and last thing on Ohio State specifically, you're talking to Coach Walton, Coach Guerrieri. What are those relationships like? Obviously, they seem to be going pretty well. They wouldn't be in your top four, but what can you tell us about those guys and just the relationships you've built there?
So I knew Coach Walton before going to Ohio State the first time. We had some connections through some people. Coach G, I met him for the first time when I first went out there for the camp, and he was, on me from the second I got out there, like, hey, we want to see you do this. I need you to do this. Like, he was coaching me up from the time that I got out there to the time I left. Yeah. And that's one thing that caught my eyes. And we just have a great relationship. Like, we can just sit down and talk about whatever. We can chat. We can talk about movies, conversation with his kids. So we're really close. Of course, I have a relationship with Tyler Walton, Coach Tim's son. He's around the facility a lot. I think he's a
he's sports staff.
Yeah, sports staff. I don't know what he does, but we have a tight relationship. We text constantly, daily, weekly.
So you get this thing out of the way in August. How much is it going to be a relief?
It will be. It will be a relief, kinda. Just knowing that I don't have to, me and my parents don't have to stress about what we're going to do this week, what we're going to do that week, when we're going to find time to see my sister, because that's been a big problem. Well, not a problem, but that's been a big factor now because my sister's playing college softball now. They're getting into, postseason. So
where is she playing at?
She plays at Auburn. So just trying to figure out how we can, manage my visits with seeing her and supporting her at the same time. So it'll be a great relief.
Yeah. Well, last thing I got to ask you about. You are an NFL fan of which team?
Dallas Cowboys.
Well, I found the negative on the scouting report. But what's that? What's the deal there?
It was just an amazing play that I had to keep, because it was kind of great to witness.
From Saquon Barkley of the
Philadelphia Eagles.
Okay. Can I get a go Birds before we sign off?
I can't do that.
You can't give me a go Birds?
I can't do that.
You drove all the way to Mississippi. I can't get a go Birds.
I can give you one thing. How about them Cowboys? I can give you an OH. I give you OH.
That's for them. I don't.
OH. Yeah. I can't give you
Fly
that.
Eagles fly.
I can give you a brotherly love. I can give you, brotherly love.
Brotherly.
Brotherly love.
Okay. All right. Gosh, tough crowd. All right. Well, we appreciate you doing this.
Yes, sir.
It's been great
Thank y'all.
meeting with you and talking to you. Good luck here on your upcoming visits and
Thank
as
you.
you work toward a decision.
Yes, sir.
Yep.